Good morning, Dr. Silberman. How's the knee?
Did you just have a brain fart?
I know Taekwondo.
Stop eating my sesame cake!
You're killing me, Smalls.
Fuck with me, and we'll see who shits on the sidewalk.
Come quietly, or there will be trouble.
Clearly, I wasn't talking to you, big titties. You cherub-looking motherfucker.
While you were still learning how to spell your name, I was being trained to conquer galaxies.
The real question is, what are those?
Action.
So, basically, man, you know, this whole phenomenon right now is going on with everybody having a subscription to everything has gotten really, really overwhelming and somewhat outlandish and crazy. And at some point, the bubble's gonna burst, man. And my latest example of this, as I was telling Swizz several weeks ago, was about Photoshop and how for years and years, and Adrian, you know this to be true as well as being an artist. For years and years, we could buy something called an Adobe CS Suite. We could buy it in a box. We buy it. There's everything we need inside of it. Maybe $400. You know, boom, it's done. It's an expensive, immediate investment, true. But once you made that investment one time, it was yours for life. Now, now you pay, you know, anywhere from $19 to $29 a month for access to everything, which is good if you need access to everything. But at the same time, like, okay, you know, $19 times, you know, 52 weeks out of, 12 months out of the year, that's more than $400, you know?
Right,
you know?
yeah.
And it gets to be a bit much, man. And I'm to the point now where, you know, I have a Mac Mini, and it's getting up in age, you know, and I'm having problems with it now because the latest CS, the latest CC, what they're calling it now, has had a lot of issues with Adobe Installer. So I call them and tell them, look, I've been a customer now for, you know, about 20 years, all right, give or take, you know, 2 or 3 years.
Has it been 20 years?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been a customer.
Wow.
Not with the CS, not with the new downloadable, you know, monthly plan, but with the full purchase plan where I bought the actual box set.
No, I know, but I just didn't know it went back 2 decades. With you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I said, well, thank you, Mr. Clark. We appreciate it. You know, thank you. Thanks a lot. I was like, yeah, I'm good. But let me tell you something. You know, if I can't get this resolved today, I will be dropping the service. You know, so, you know, at some point, you know, there's good customer service and there's bad customer service. So they made it. They basically, you know, told me, well, you want to pay again until January. If you don't drop our service, we'll prorate like 3 months worth of service for you, you know, and drop you down to $19.99 or whatever, or $9.99 a month. And all you get is just a basic Photoshop and things you need for functioning as an artist. So what that tells me is that there's such a premium price hike involved with these services that it probably wasn't necessary to charge you that much in the first place. You know? So to me, that tells me, okay, maybe, you know, we all need to rise up.
Revolution!
You know? and say, look, man, you know, I understand that you guys are trying to make money, and I get it. For a long time, where digital services were distributed online, you guys probably ate it with all the torrents and things like that. You probably paid a hefty sum for not having money, having all that stuff directly to you. But now, you know, you have to look at your customer base and say, okay, this guy has been a part of us for this amount of time. You know, let's give him the offer to see if he's really interested in doing, you know, some other kind of payment plan of some sort. So I feel like maybe now, you know, at $9.99 may be a negotiable price for me. But I'm not going to pay $19.99 for something I'm not going to be able to use. So, and another thing they do too, Adrian.
Let me
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, so do you think that this is a result of, because the pirating has been going on for as long as you've been a customer, so it can't be like some kind of a response to that. They probably created a business model where, you know, like any business, if there's some theft involved, they're going to figure out, okay, if we make this much money, if we have this much revenue, we make this much profit, we can afford this much theft and loss. Right. So that was probably built in decades ago. So I'm just wondering if Adobe is just basically saying, look, they're just looking at the Netflix model, the Spotify model, the Hulu model, the Amazon model, all these other subscription-based models, and saying, this is how people want to use their dollars and gain access to media, and in this particular case, you know, tools, you know, tools for the entertainment business, or for the, you know, for the creation of you know, for manipulating images. Photographers use, you know, Photoshop. You know, lots of people do it, not just visual artists. So I'm just wondering if they're just really looking at, hey, this is where the future is. Everybody just wants to, instead of buying something and owning it, or even, you know, the previous model, which is to buy it and download it. Now I don't even want the shit on my hard drive anymore. I just want to pay Spotify $9 a month and just have access to the songs that I want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I wonder if that's what they're actually looking at is just how people gain access to things and consume things today, and trying to be more contemporary in their business approach.
Yeah, and I think you're probably right about this, Wiz. But here's essentially what's happened though. Like, you changed it from a one-time buy type situation into a consumable by making it a monthly subscription. So you made it almost like a extra bill that I have to spend money on, like I'm buying food or something I need to actually sustain my body. You know, and one of the things that got me into a tizzy about it as well. In fact, when I realized what was going on, it was almost like, okay, if you can't afford to pay the subscription rate, you're almost not going to be competitive with the rest of the field that you're trying to be in or a part of. Like, if you can't afford to pay for Photoshop, you can't use Photoshop, you can't get the skills necessary to develop a portfolio that will allow you to get professional work to be able to get out there and do your work as an artist. And there's a lot of tools out there like that. You know, there are some tools which are better than others, which I won't name their names, and I guess maybe I should to give Photoshop a fair chance, but I'm not about that right now. But there's some companies that actually see, okay, you pay for this one time, and all the additional upgrades are going to be free thereafter. You know, even in this digital age of constant sharing, and like you said, the new business model of okay, we're gonna give you X amount of, you know, time for X amount of dollars. What do you think about that, Adrian?
Well, it's a good thing that you brought this up, because I do have a piggyback to go along with that. You know, you were mentioning about the model of it being a consumable, which I totally agree with. You know, I personally, I'm still using, I have a Mac Mini myself, and it's aging also, and it still has Photoshop CS3 on that mug, man.
My man.
Like, that's the last, that's the last piece of that suite that actually works on this Mac Mini.
Nice.
And I don't want to pay that extra bill. I refuse to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Photoshop, to me, Photoshop is Photoshop. Unless it does something else I don't know about, which it probably does, I'm good. Like, I'm still making my little money here and there on the freelance using that old Photoshop. Now, the thing for me that has me scared is, though, in talking about, you know, Photoshop and that whole suite as a streaming service, as a subscription service, is that now with the frequent updates to, you know, the Mac OS, you know, it keeps throwing messages like, hey, this OS isn't gonna work with CS3.
Tapping that watch.
Hey dog, you might want to check that. You might want to check that CS3, man. So now it's the new OS is out, and I see the notification sitting down there in my settings, my system preferences, like, hey, bro, You need to update.
Yeah.
What you waiting on?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm waiting on if my CS3 is still going to work because I actually have, like I need it to work right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some freelance stuff that I'm doing in the midst of, and I need that to be working.
Right.
So it's one of those things where I think not only with the Adobe Suite, but streaming services overall, there's this whole new paradigm of, and you mentioned it off mic briefly before we got on, D, and you said it in a perfect way. There's a gluttony of things available as far as like choices for us to make. And it's like they're all out there in the ether, so to speak, but now that ether is being organized into, you know, these sects for us to choose from. But all of these sects cost. All of these sects, you know, it's like rival gangs, yo. You know, you can roll with the Crips, you can roll with the Rolling 60s. You know, what set you claiming? Choose your set, yo, and who you down with. No. And it's just like, so you got to make those choices with your wallet, and everybody's doing it. Yeah. You know, entertainment companies especially, but you know, definitely now with like corporations, you know, who have these things that there is a need for, like tools that people need to use to like function and, you know, actually create income for themselves. And now even there's that, you know, that's now a streaming service. So it's like this whole new paradigm shift of it's out there and it's yours for the taking if you can afford it. And it's just like, it's tough.
I was going to say one more thing. In regards to that, man, do not, I repeat, do not download Catalina right now. My Catalina has totally like jacked my machine up to the point now to where I can't use my Photoshop. I can barely stay on for more than 5 minutes at a time before it crashes. I've been on the phone all day with Adobe. Not Adobe. I've been on the phone all day with Macintosh support, trying to get it resolved. And there's if you do a search online right now for Catalina and Photoshop, it'll tell you do not download, do not update right now at this point until further notice.
All right.
Appreciate that. It is that bad. So, of course, I could be exaggerating a bit to some degree, but it pretty much says that there's a consistent systemic issue with Photoshop and Catalina, which is the latest OS for Photoshop, latest OS for Macintosh. And I use ZBrush too. You know, I use ZBrush, the modeling program. Well, for all you ZBrush heads out there, as you know right now, for the ones that have the latest edition of ZBrush, you cannot save over a file which you've had already. You have to create another file that is going to be used instead of the file that you were utilizing. So if you open up a file and it's, you know, Mech 1, you can't save over Mech 1. You got to do Mech 2 if you're using ZBrush Core or something else besides the mainstream ZBrush. So until they fix Catalina, or until they make a repair for ZBrush or a patch for ZBrush, you won't be able to use it properly either. So there's a whole bunch of things going on right now, man. And I partly fault Steve Jobs, man. I partly fault the business model that is Macintosh, that is Apple, and the way they roll things out. I mean, I get it. They want to do these grand, statements, and we have these great keynotes and things like that, and surprise everybody. But the developers need to be in on it from ground zero. You know, there shouldn't be any surprises for developers that help sustain and help grow your product. You know, so you let them on the back end as what's going on, so you can be prepared for these various little glitches and things that occur on day one once you start downloading the system. You know, so and that's all. I mean, I'll get off my soapbox and back to regular programming with that note.
Well, no, that's really interesting, man. And I didn't think about it, Dwight. I didn't think about it from the position that you just made, or the point that you just made, that someone, especially like someone who didn't have a lot of money, like a young up and coming artist, maybe somebody who can't afford to go to school, who is trying to make it on their own, they may not be able to afford $20 a month or whatever it is,
right?
Indefinitely. And you think, well, that's not an awful lot of money. Sure enough, I mean, a lot of 20-year-olds might spend $20 a week, just going out drinking and hanging out with their friends.
Right.
But it does have an impact on someone's ability to get their hands on modern tools, for picture making, graphic design, photography, what have you, and to not be able to develop, competitive skills, so that they can, they can make their work and put it out there. So, but I wonder if this is a true concern, or if this is just growing pains in the sense of, and we're going to get into a conversation, or the other part of our conversation will be talk about like streaming platforms and the subscription fees involved with those. But I just wonder if it's a thing. It's just like nothing exists in a vacuum,
Right.
Adrian said he's telling us off mic that he was feeling the pinch of paying for cable and Netflix and Amazon Prime and all of that, and so he's cutting the cord on cable.
Right.
Yes.
So you'll find the money. You just got to figure out another way to do it, and there are a lot of people have done that. Landlines is like, okay, why do I need a landline if I have a cell phone? And now long distance is free on the cell phone. It's been free for years and years.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was a game. Like Dee was talking about, the profit built into what Adobe was charging. We were talking about that earlier. Again, I don't know if it was off mic or not.
Right.
How much profit is built in versus the loss. Okay, well, it was the same before with long distance.
Right.
Remember all those absorbent long distance rates? Now it's free.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the shit could have been free all along.
Right.
We just were gonna make the money for as long as we could,
Right.
and like make tons of it. I remember your parents used to tell you you got to make the call after 8:00 because then the rates go down.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Nobody thinks about that anymore. So I just wonder if now with this, it's just going to become a thing where, eventually our minds will adjust and our sensibilities will adjust. We'll pay the subscription rate, but we'll figure out a way to not pay somewhere else as a result in our private lives or in some way of, in the way that you run your life as an artist.
Right.
In terms of your overhead, etc. You'll just figure out a way, well, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to do that. And what is that going to be?
Right.
Like people already do that now. Speaking of the streaming services, I think that's a reason why, some of these streaming networks like Netflix or Prime or, any of the like established networks like HBO and so forth, they have kind of like, I guess you would term tentpole series or events, Hulu included, where it's like, okay, we got this series coming out. So they know they're going to hook you in for a sustained period of time. And for X amount of month, you know what I'm saying? You can watch this whole thing. You can binge the whole thing. And online, you'll see people saying, oh, man, well, I didn't have Hulu, but that new Wu-Tang series is out. I'm going to get Hulu just for that.
Right.
And then when I'm done, I'm going to bounce off of Hulu.
Right.
You mean like sign up for the free trial or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, not even with the free trial. Like, some of them will say, like, you know what I'm saying? It's not even a free trial. Like, I'll do that. I'll do that $5.99 for a month so I can watch all of that Wu-Tang series, and then I'm out once I'm done with it. Or people saying, I'm going to get on Netflix for, like, just that month, that $15.99 or whatnot, so I can just watch that mini series or whatever, and then I'm going to bounce.
Yeah.
Guilty. So it kind of becomes a game of, okay, once those streaming services have you within their grasp for that month, how are they going to keep you? And that's where you start seeing more and more series and more diversity in terms of, well, here's everything else that we offer. Since you're here, why don't you take a look at what else we got? And so you find more people like, all right, damn. Okay, I guess I'll stay now for a little bit longer. Because I had that experience with Amazon Prime. I signed up for Prime just for the shipping. You know what I'm saying? And then I discovered they had a network, man. How stupid is that? And then once I didn't even know.
Not at all. Okay.
But what happened was that when we did the episode about The Boys, that's what prompted it. because I had already signed on Prime, I believe, just a week or so before that. And then I was like, oh, so since I'm signed to Prime, I have access to the streaming service. I didn't know that.
Right.
Like, I had to slap my forehead.
Right.
So I've been on there since, and it's been about 2 months or whatnot since we, watched The Boys and everything.
Right.
And I'm still, hooked into that because I found other things on the network that I actually enjoy. But with that, though, I found that, like you mentioned, I've had to cut the cord, on cable. And if there's nothing good on Netflix, unless my family objects and they say, no, keep it because we, there's stuff on there that we like, I may cut that too. So it's definitely letting credence to your argument, Swizz, that you're going to have to make those choices about which of these streaming services or what combination thereof you're going to have each month. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you, Adrian. And to add to that, man, I think it's a thing where, as far as Prime goes, it's like, you can almost forgive Prime to a certain degree because they do have that extra added thing where they do add other aspects to your life.
Yeah.
Like they do have, that streaming service. They all do have the next day service. They do have access to various other things that you can utilize. They're just as good as, as the entertainment mode that you use it for. So, there's that. But these other services, man, that is purely entertainment. It's purely, eyeballs. It's all about watching something on TV. Wherein, with Amazon, you can get books, you can get all kinds of, clothing, food, all your basic necessities.
No, that's really the key to the difference between what Amazon does and what Netflix does. I mean, Netflix, to some extent, you can make the argument that maybe they have their original programming is a little better. It's a little, better produced, better written. More diversity in terms of the casting, et cetera, that sort of thing. But with Amazon, I mean, we were paying the $99 a year or whatever it is just to get shipped in 2 days.
Right, yeah.
Like that in and of itself was worth the $99. Oh, and I can also watch The Boys. Oh, I can also watch Fleabag. Oh, Adrian can also watch, a documentary about World War I or about, Black Wall Street or, whatever it is. That's just an added bonus. So, as it relates to, in the coming year, which I think I wrote it down. So, like currently streaming, we've got Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, or Prime Video rather, HBO Now, and YouTube. YouTube has a paid service. And then coming, there's CBS All Access, DC Universe, which I think is a bigger version of what DC has out now.
Okay.
Disney Plus, and Disney also now owns Hulu. They purchased Hulu.
Wow.
What?
Makes sense.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Because that would have relevance with the Marvel stuff together with the Marvel stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. NBCU and Apple TV. And so, you look at something like, Netflix spent like $100 million to get Friends. They spent like $500 million to get Seinfeld. I mean, you say that, but, everybody's making original content because, this idea of getting these licenses for these things, the licenses don't last forever.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not super expensive.
Yeah.
Is it likely that people are going to all of a sudden in 5 years hate Friends and that $100 million investment that Netflix made is not going to be worth it? Probably not going to be the case. But it's a gamble that could be the case.
Right.
That people's interest in Friends or The Office or Seinfeld could wane, and you've already spent, $100 million, $500 million to get this license. So everybody's creating this original content. But, it's just, everything is just a gamble. But I mean, to speak to you guys, kind of poo-pooing, the idea of spending that kind of loot. My daughter watched The Office on Netflix. Like, it's considered like comfort viewing. You can pop in anywhere, basically. You don't have to watch it in continuity. If you think it's funny, you can just turn it on and just start watching them. You can watch 3 today. You can watch 3 from season 1 the next day. You can watch 2 of them from season 6 the following day. And then when we went to Dragon Con that one year, she took a picture with that the actress. I forgot her name. Helen Tate. Catherine Tate, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
She took a picture with her, and Tate, the actress, asked Skylar, what do you know me from? How do you know my work? And she said, from The Office. And she had been on other things that might have been maybe a bit more in Skylar's wheelhouse. She was 14 at the time.
Right.
But that's how she knew it. And, Adrian, you and I were talking about this online in preparation for the conversation. My kid doesn't watch any broadcast television.
Right.
None.
Right.
It's all YouTube. It's all Netflix. It's all anything that's streaming that she can watch on her phone. That's it. Doesn't even have a television in her room.
Wow.
So does she watch it either on her phone or a tablet?
On her tablet, yeah, or on her laptop, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just a very, very different thing, and as it relates to Disney having access to not only all the the historic and traditional Disney stuff, now they've got access to all the Marvel stuff. Now they've got access to Star Wars.
Good Lord.
Apple's coming out, and that was something else that came up in the last, I believe, year, where, Apple, or previously iTunes, the iTunes store, in terms of having a, if you purchased a movie, so you can watch this movie as many times you want on iTunes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, but iTunes is a store, just like Kroger or Publix or Piggly Wiggly or Ralph's or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
They could decide, okay, this is a closeout. We're no longer going to carry Little Debbie's raisin cakes anymore.
Yeah.
So people had purchased, let's say we're talking about the very first Predator movie. They had purchased the license for Predator. You could have access. You fire up your iTunes and you can watch Predator every day. And then all of a sudden, whoever owns Predator, let's say it's Fox or whatever, they say, okay, no, we're not going to let you have that in your store anymore. Now all of a sudden, you don't have Predator.
Mm-hmm.
You paid iTunes for Predator. Predator's not available in their store anymore. And all they're going to tell you is, we'll just give you a credit to buy something else. No, motherfucker, I want Predator.
Right.
I ain't got time to die, okay? I want to have me some fun. I'm going to have me some fun.
You know they tell you? Get to the chopper!
What's that? but to your point, Swizz, that's why a lot of these places now offer the choice too. Like, well, you can download it and take it with you. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder if that's kind of like a fail-safe, just in case something like that happens. So you can put it on your hard drive, but the problem is most people are like, I don't want it on my hard drive. I just want it there in the ether, in the cloud, or wherever, so I can have access to it.
Get my
But I
devices,
want it.
right.
But see, Adrian,
What's up?
that's me. I have not used my classic iPod in probably going on 2 years now.
Wow.
Really?
I only stream music. I don't buy any CDs.
Yeah.
I don't buy any hard copies.
Wow.
I don't want to download any MP3s, and I'm frightened to death because, like, the playlists and the stuff that I have in my library on Spotify and Apple Music, I'm like, okay, suppose something happens and that shit crashes one day. Suppose something happens and Spotify goes bankrupt or gets hit by in a massive cyber attack and all of that's gone. Now I gotta try to remember that I like 2 songs from Jay-Z's Blueprint, right. And I like 3 songs from, Life and Times of S. Carter Volume. You know what I'm saying? I got to try to remember that now.
Right.
So it's a weird thing, like you're saying, where you have access to something, but you don't have the actual thing. And, the game that these streaming services play where, like you're saying, I mean, as long as you can come and go as you want, it's kind of like going out on a Saturday night and you go to this club, and you pay to get in, and you have a few drinks, and you go to that club, and you pay and get in and have a few drinks, and you go to this club because the girls are finding there, and they play hip hop after 1 o'clock, and so we're gonna go there, and you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, it's that kind of mentality. It's like a buffet, and as long as you can come and go freely, but I mean, again, you know, Fox is talking about putting an app out. They own a certain amount of media. You know, we got Disney. You know, you know, who knows? Comcast was talking about doing it. I mean,
BET.
And Comcast owns Universal.
Right? BET?
Oh,
BET Plus,
shoot.
sir?
BET Plus.
Damn, what they got? Waist deep or some shit.
If you want to see Rachel and Caribbean Rhythms, yo, the reruns.
But it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, you're gonna have these different sets, yo, and everybody gonna be like, "What set you claiming?" You know what I'm saying? You can claim like 4 or 5 at a time if you can afford it. But what I think is gonna happen is it's gonna change the way people view media, of course. But like, say you're like a movie file, like we are. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, there's certain movies that we would love to see like anytime or just have it pop up or whatever. But I have a feeling that now with all of these separate corporations and studios saying, well, we want our own streaming services, I wonder if it's going to change in terms of, well, if it's Paramount, if Paramount comes out with a streaming service, which I think that they're trying to, you know, does that mean that you put Star Trek behind a pay screen now? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right, because it's available for free.
Yeah.
Not free, but I mean it's available for you to watch on
Exactly,
Netflix
it's out
now.
there.
It's a part of the Netflix package.
Yeah, but exactly. So if Paramount says, hey, we got our own streaming service now, let's take that off of Netflix. So now the only way you can see this viable property is to come over to our service. And it's like every studio has, crown jewels that they can hold on to like that. And the only way you can see those is to go to their service if they so desired that to be the effect. And that's what I'm afraid of.
Well, yeah,
man.
there's going to be a chilling effect like that, man. Because I'm telling you right now, Netflix has about probably 2 good months left before Disney comes down hard on them and takes Star Wars off. I'm telling you, unless it's written into the contract from the beginning, which probably is, it probably have like a 5-year stint from the time the movie comes out, and then the contract to where they can keep publishing rights or keep producing or keep showing it on Netflix forever.
It's a license.
Oh,
it's essentially a license.
Right.
Like, for instance, I don't mean to cut you off, D, but for instance, my understanding is even though they lost The Office, I think The Office will play and be available into next year.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like you're saying, when they pay for it and they get it, I mean, they keep it for a long enough time to where, let's say if we're talking about Star Wars, okay, Disney may say, well, we can run Star Wars over here too. It's just we're going to let you have it as well. But that exclusivity comes into question in terms of, moving forward, who can do what and with what.
Right.
But see, this brings me back to the idea of following the path of least resistance. If it becomes too broad, if it becomes too many choices, if there are too many colors on the palette, eventually you get overwhelmed.
Right.
And I'm just thinking that, people are going to go to what's easiest. And, okay, is it cheaper for me to just pirate this stuff and to just see it and to get it, through alternative means and not have to worry about any of that? Yes. And to some extent, some people may end up going a pirated route, finding it available online through one source, where I can go to one source. I can get my Amazon Fire Stick, get it jailbroke, and use one platform.
That's right.
And watch whatever I want to watch. Everything's available. All I have to do, I can search Predator, I can search Die Hard, I can search Fast and Furious, all 8 of them joints. I can search Matrix. I can watch any old movie that is a perennial favorite,
right?
And any old television show, all of it's available, and the new stuff, all of it's available. It's available in one place. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to ask about it. There it is.
Right.
And that's why I'm afraid that they may get wise to that and say, nah, well, give me my shit, and the only way you can get it is to come to our service.
Right.
No,
you know
but see, that's what I'm saying. When it's pirated, though, I mean, they can't stop you, yo. I mean,
all right, Morpheus.
You ain't gonna stop the nerds, yo. The nerds, yeah, exactly. You know, Anonymous is not gonna be stopped by you,
right?
Just because and that's kind of another thing too. And it's it'd be a digression into a different conversation, but
okay,
as it relates to owning, the copyright laws and trademark and all of that, not trademark but copyrights. This shit was not meant for somebody to have and keep and have sole ownership of for more than like 70 years.
Right, correct.
I think the time on it is supposed to be like after 70, 75 years, it becomes public domain because it's supposed to encourage people, once it goes into public domain, to encourage people to be creative and to, and to make it where, okay, somebody in a generation after we are all long and dead and gone will know something about Mickey Mouse and cannot find out about Mickey Mouse without having to go to Disney down in Orlando and pay, $90 a day to walk around on a damn theme park. Or, in 40 years, they're going to pay, $50 a month for Disney Plus so that they can watch, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. All that stuff's just supposed to go and become public domain. You're not just supposed to hold on to it and just, mass produce it and merch it out and just make money on it forever. Eventually, it's supposed to leave your fingertips.
Well, see, that's the thing about IP, man. The IP is once you have a successful IP, it's you want to keep that. That becomes your new money wag. So they're never going to get rid of. You're never going to let go of Mickey Mouse. And anytime a conversation comes up about getting rid of Mickey Mouse, they can produce some new version of Mickey Mouse so they can sustain it.
Right.
That's why as you know all this stuff already. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but it's just it blows my mind. I mean, how many times have we seen another Aladdin version? I don't need to see any more Aladdin versions. Just keep producing what you have already and keep it. It's already in public domain already. It's already on your service already. To the point where we have to make another version of it. Do I need a live action version of it now? Do I need a friggin' 3D animated, 4D animated, 6D animated version of it?
But like you're saying though, D, I mean, a lot of that is just being done so that they can keep the license. It's like Sony Fox making Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah.
Once the superhero thing became big, they're like, well, all we got is a Fantastic Four and fucking Punisher. Wow. We got to keep making this bullshit. And every time they make it, it'd be horrible. But it was just to keep the license. Same thing with Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about Spider-Man. Just so that Sony could keep the license for Spider-Man, in 11 years, we have had 3 Spider-Man 2s.
Mm-hmm. That is true. Yeah.
There's been 3 Spider-Man 2s in 11 years. That's insane.
It really is, man.
And it's just, we're going to keep this license.
Right.
So as it relates to all of it, I mean, granted, like you're saying, there are just specific things that are going to be like you said, belongs to Paramount. Suppose Paramount does their own app. I mean, I don't know what else Paramount got going on, but Paramount is going to be like, okay, well, we got Star Trek. Okay, let's pull it.
They got Beverly Hills Cop,
Okay. Well, hey, let's stir it up then.
That's it.
Okay. But,
nice. Get that Lethal Weapon, yo.
Oh yeah.
No, that's Warner Brothers.
Huh?
And that's one of the things that always used to bug me about having Netflix and paying for Netflix, where I'd be like, okay, I want there to be a streaming service where I, as an 80s kid, can go and I can see Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, Commando, Predator, Terminator,
Yes.
Terminator 2,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? Aliens, Raiders of the Lost. I want to see all the good classic shit, and I want it to be available at the press of a button.
Right.
Don't put it behind a paywall. I want it all available right there. And I can't get that on Netflix.
No, but
I can't
TNT's
get that
got you
anywhere
though,
without
man.
having to pay for it.
TNT's got you though, man. But it's of course a commercial.
TNT.
TNT.
Oh man, but that's what I'm saying though. Like you gotta pick and choose. Like sometimes Netflix will have those exact movies because I'm feeling the same pain that you feeling with that, you know. And then you'll search on Prime and be like, wow, they got that. Oh, and that. Oh, okay, cool. So maybe I will chill over here for another month or so. And then you see Netflix has their lineup coming out next month, and you're like, oh wow, oh man, I ain't seen that in a minute. Let me hop over there. So it still just comes right back down to your initial posit of you're going to have to make those choices about how you're going to spend your money amongst these streaming services in this new paradigm. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it's going away.
There is.
It's not
going to go away, man, because they discovered a pot of gold, and they're going to continue go to the well and go to the well and keep pulling from it, man. It's it's done now. Pandora's box is open. So I'm looking at like for example, you look at like one of the things that aggravates me about Prime the most is you get Netflix, everything on Netflix you see, it's there for you to consume. Everything on CBS All Access, it's there for you to consume. You go to friggin' Prime and they have you may want this, but you know what? That's actually on their service. So if you want to watch HBO's Watchmen, no partner, you got to pay for you got to either watch watch it for 7 days for free, or you pay this $9.99 per month to watch this thing. I'm like, come on, man. You guys are advertising left and right. I'm sorry.
Or even D to buttress that point. So you pay the $99. You pay whatever you pay for Prime Video, right?
Right. Yeah,
and you have
$12.99.
You have access to their free, to whatever's free and available to you, and their original content, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I was telling my daughter, because she's a horror movie fan, right?
Oh, really?
Okay.
So I said, okay, yeah. So I said, okay, you got to check out Let the Right One In, the vampire movie.
Right.
I sent her the trailer. I said, it's on Prime. I said, you got to check out Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I sent her the trailer. I said, it's on Prime. And then I said, and you got to check out Attack the Block, which is not a horror movie, but it's a great movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Exactly. Yeah, I have.
It's a great movie. It's fun. The actor who plays Finn on John Boyega is in it. Yeah. And it's just a great movie. And it's an interesting movie too because it's it's set in London.
Okay.
And then I looked and I was like, oh yeah, it's on Prime, but you pay like $1.99 extra to see the movie. I'm like, okay, this is some bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
No, it is, man.
Now they've caught me with
It's
that
just like
before, though.
Comcast. You pay $79 a month for cable, and then but these premium movies, you got to pay extra for that. What am I paying you for?
That is a bullshit, and that's why I'm cutting the cord.
Yeah.
but see, I'm not mad. I'm not mad on that Prime though. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a couple of times they done got me with that okie doke, man. Like I've been just chugging along, like, oh man, they got this. Oh damn, they got this. And you can tell, and it took me a second to figure out what was available and what wasn't. Because if it's available on Prime, it'll have that little Prime streamer on the corner of it. Like, this is Prime. It's on here. Guaranteed. That grade A is guaranteed. But if you don't see that little streamer, I'm not going to be disappointed. Like, oh, okay. But they caught me with that okie doke when I first got Prime. I was like, oh, shoot, they got Beverly Hills Cop. Oh, shit. Oh, man. Dang.
Oh, man, I just bought Beverly Hills Cop for $1.99.
I ain't need that. I got that.
You fell for the banana in the tailpipe.
Damn, so did, Joe. Dang, man.
That's messed up. That's messed up. But man, that's what's aggravating about it. Like, okay, see, my point is, by saying that, is that there's a bit of honesty when you sign on to these other networks. You sign on to Netflix, you get Netflix products, We're not advertising.
Yeah.
We're not shilling for somebody else's products. You know what I mean? But it seems like they become a gateway to shill for other people's product. You know, so you guys don't really want to see. Did anybody even know that friggin' what's that? Cinemax is even still an actual viable service? No, but HBO was actually shilling for it. So if you want to if you see this interesting program you didn't know was out there, it's on Cinemax. You can go through the back channels through HBO and get it for an introductory price of how much that is a month. You see what I'm saying? So it's like there's no honesty with them, and that's kind of pisses me off too, because I can see, okay, yeah, all right, so you may not be the prime choice for watching a lot of things, but if you say that you're going to have, like, you know, this like Adrian said a long time ago, it's very important to film for geeks, you know, turn into a television show, The Watchmen, and you're advertising it like it's going to be your thing. On, you know, now I click on it, and you tell me, oh, no, sorry, partner, you know what? That ain't us. You got to go, oh, no, my brother, you ain't going to get it here. You got to go there.
You got to get your own.
You got to get your own. You got to find it your own way.
You can carry your ass on over to happy ass over to HBO. Like, man, so you bait and switch me then. I get pissed off with bait and switches. Don't tell me something. No, I'm getting advertised like I'm getting it from you guys. All of a sudden I got to go someplace else to get it. What do I need you for then? You see? And that's what I'm heading more and more in that direction, Agent, every day towards, okay, what am I going to cut when Disney Plus comes online? When Disney Plus comes online, it's going to be a brand new game for me, because everything I want to see, well, that's not necessarily true, but a lot of things I want to see, you know, in a catalog version. I got all my Marvel movies there. I got all my
yeah.
You know, I got all my Star Wars movies there. I got.
But see, here's the thing, though, D.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Oh, here we go.
I guess they are trying to get you with that, but
you see,
Dang.
But my thing is like with Disney Plus, I'm just wondering if it's going to be a thing where they're like, okay, Age of Ultron is available, but Endgame and Infinity War are not available. They won't be available until, you know, the fall or whatever.
Really?
You know, or you can see Captain America: The First Avenger, but Winter Soldier's not going to be available till, you know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna play
Stagger it?
like a chess game with you. You know, in terms of letting some things be accessible. Because, I mean, they're not just going to put it all out there and just let everybody just come over there and just take a turn. You know?
No, man. No. I mean, to my understanding of it's just to say,
Dang.
it's just to say that, man. When I saw, I watched some of the keynote for Disney platform, man. They were like, yeah, everything's available first day. Like, damn, that's what they said, man. So, you know, I don't know. I mean,
well, that would be awesome if you wanted to see Snow White, if you wanted to see Bambi, if you wanted to see Lion King, the original Lion King, if you wanted to see, you know, A New Hope or Empire or any of those crappy prequels, if you wanted to see, you know, any of that stuff, and it's there, I mean, that is kind of awesome. And didn't they just buy the Fox movies?
I don't know. I know
Disney did?
Did they?
Yeah, Disney.
I think that was some type of merger, wasn't it?
If I'm not mistaken, Disney bought that Fox license. That's why they were saying that the X-Men movies.
Oh yeah. They did.
Or the X-Men and X-Men and something else were now going to be the Fantastic Four would be potentially incorporated back into the Marvel MCU.
Yes.
The MCU.
Damn.
Yes.
Holy cow! That would be crazy.
Yeah, Fox.
Dang.
They bought the Fox movie division. My understanding.
Yeah,
so,
they don't have like Fox Sports or like some of the TV shows and stuff, but I think the movie stuff is fair game.
Yeah.
So like, and we're not talking about just those Marvel movies. We're talking about their whole Fox movie catalog.
I think like Aliens. All that stuff. They have access. They own and move all of that. But I think they're keeping it separate because Disney has a particular brand.
Right.
So, you know, like they don't want, you know, like Disney is not going to, you know, I mean, that's why it's good to have Marvel Studios so that Marvel Studios can do something filthy like Deadpool
Right.
And Disney doesn't have to sully themselves by being associated with it. Well, we own we're the parent company, but we're not.
I mean, come on, man! I'd be down to see Snow White and the Winter Soldier, man. It'd be kind of dope, yeah.
Well, you might get your wish with all of these, the
mashups,
live action movies coming out now, man.
And it can capitalize it as being a what if, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to have what if.
What if?
What if?
I hope.
They got a what if movie in the works, man. So you going to get your wish, man.
No, that's a TV series. That's going to be a series on Disney.
Oh, it's going to be a TV series. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's got your boy Jeffrey Wright. It's going to be what's his name? Utu.
He's the voice of Uatu.
Word?
Yeah.
That might be hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He can do anything. He's very talented.
Yeah.
He can do anything.
Yes, he is. Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be Jim Gordon in the new Batman movie.
Okay.
Really?
Yep.
Dang. Go ahead, Jeff. Okay. Go ahead, man. Wow.
These drifting. You drifting on us, D.
Batman movie, yo.
Hey, man, come on, D. That's, man, I'm telling you, Jeffrey Wright, he just got to get them glasses, get that gravelly voice, man. You know how he do, man. It's going to work.
I like Jeffrey Wright. I'm just sorry he's going to waste his talent on Batman. That's all.
No, I agree with you, D. I'm not at all excited about another Batman movie.
Yeah.
I'm not excited about Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne / Batman. Then they cast Zoe Kravitz as the Catwoman. And I'm like,
really?
Okay, she's not very interesting to me.
If she's gonna go my way, I might,
Y'all got the jokes tonight, okay.
Cause I gotta know.
I see.
Black Velveteen,
Right?
Let me stop, man.
But anyway, so it can really be interesting, but I just think, again, you're just not going to stop the nerds.
No.
I mean, if it's too expensive and it's too complicated and things are too, it's going to be like, look, one source.
Mm-hmm.
Go get this software and you can watch all of this stuff, one source.
Yeah, man.
And again, once you make something digital, you can't control it.
Yeah.
If it's streaming somewhere, somebody can do a video screen capture of it, create their own file, put it on the dark web or the dark web, and make it available for somebody to watch. And see, that was the thing previously when people were file sharing, doing peer-to-peer file sharing, right?
Yeah, of course.
They could get you because they could hit you with all this malware and all, you get all these bots and these Trojans that will come in with the downloads. Now if it's streaming, no, it's not on me. I'm just watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's getting on my computer. I'm just looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Right.
So it's a new day as far as all of that is concerned, and I just feel like, this is the comparison that I was making to somebody, a coworker. Actually, yeah, a coworker and a friend. The comparison to all of these different platforms is almost similar to the direct market in comics, where you have all of these. You had an explosion of opportunities to get stuff, and so it created all of these niche, small audiences for different things.
Right.
Like all these specialty shops made it where, okay, you could create a comic for Image and you could sell 15,000 copies and make a living off of it. 15,000 copies would have been way, way, way into cancellation 25 years ago.
Easily, yeah.
Absolutely 30 years ago. I mean, you just couldn't have survived. But because it's so specific now, it's created these very specific niche audiences for these particular books. And as long as they're faithful, as long as they come every month, they can survive. And it's very similar to this. It seems like now where it'll be, okay, if you're a Star Wars and a Marvel person and a Disney person, you're going to go here. If you're that person, you're going to go there. If you're whatever Netflix has, you're going to go there. And so they'll be able to survive as long as they can, like you were saying, keep those very small dedicated audiences paying that $9.95 a month or that $12.95 a month or whatever it is, for them to keep the lights on, so to speak.
Yeah, and back to what you were saying just a few minutes ago prior to this, as far as like you're not going to stop the nerds. I feel like in a way, like the nerds, so to speak, are going to really make more of that possible because everybody's a nerd, quote unquote, for something. Just like you just said, you can be a Star Wars nerd, you can be a Marvel, MCU nerd, all that stuff. And I think people are going to feel their inner geek for that stuff kind of override their not rationale, and maybe in some cases yes, to say, you know how nerds are. Once again, you can't stop no nerd.
Yeah.
If we want something, we're going to get it. And I think in this case, if a nerd is a nerd for Star Wars, you know what I'm saying, they're going to want to get that, and they'll be willing to pay that to have access to that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, that's just the way nerds are while we're being nerd-centric.
Yeah.
So they may not even want to pirate it. They're like, man, I don't even want to go through the trouble, man. I already love this stuff already. Okay, I'll pay the whatever it is, $9.99. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just, I think it's going to lull people kind of out of that, for the most part. Most people like, man, yeah, like it's not even going to be worth the trouble me to going through the torrents or whatever ways or means I be trying to get my stuff. I'm just like, all right, well, I might as well just pay that fee and get the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
Because also with streaming, it's going to be more difficult, I think, in some ways to pirate it. It's not like before. Once it's streaming, like you said, you're just there looking at it. It's not, you can't grab at a file of it unless you vid cap it or something. But who wants to go through the trouble of that?
That's what they do.
I know someone would do, but then you gotta dub in the audio and just too much trouble. All right, I'll just get it legally.
I don't know, yo, but go ahead.
No, I mean, and think about to your point though. I mean, both of you are right, and I come down on both sides, seeing both sides of the equation as being equal to some degree, because I think you're right. Some people are going to put the effort forth to capture it that way, Adrian, because they might as well go and the time and money it takes to be able to master and capture a digital stream may be prohibitive for some people. And if you really enjoy the content, maybe you just shell out the extra $9.95 a month or $19.95 a month, whatever the case may be. But to Swain's point, some people actually get an absolute thrill off of taking the time to do that sort of thing. It's their thing. That's what pirates do. Pirates just weren't pirates because that's the only way they can make money. They enjoyed that shit for a while. Pirates enjoyed like taking from the rich and taking from the poor, taking from the rich and giving to the poor. That's what they did. So, but I think what's going to be happening though, somewhere in the middle, is it's going to be another bill, and the same way we pay our light bill, same way we pay for that can of soda we want, same way we pay for other things around the house. It's going to be another bill that we just adjust to eventually, and it's going to become so affordable to some degree eventually, to where it's like it won't make much of a difference, But my argument right now is that they know there's a built-in audience. I go back to Photoshop again. You know, there's a built-in audience of not only professionals, but people that are trying to be professional, as well as people that are learning to develop the skills in that. Why are you taking them all the way up to the premium price immediately? Why aren't you offering them at an introductory price that makes sense and affordable to everybody, so you could stop, aggravating everybody? It's because right now the market will bear it, because not everybody's tolerating. You see what I'm saying? Once you become vocal, becomes a issue with, like I did with them, like man, I'm paying this for a long period of time. Why am I still paying for this in this manner? Oh, Mr. Clark, we can adjust that for you immediately. Well, if we're that simple, why don't you offer to everybody that way in the first place? And you may not have the same kind of issue in terms of having this kind of conversation with people on a regular basis. But yet instead they rather hedge the bet and push it. It's like when cable goes out, for example, too. Another thing, when cable goes out, right? Call up and tell me want them to prorate the bill because it's been out for like freaking 25 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour, whatever the case may be. And so, instead of me having to ask you for getting things prorated. How about just doing it as a service because you know that you guys were wrong for my shit going out? You know? So it's that kind of thing, man. You know?
Well, and that's unfortunately that's the way things work. You know, you change insurance companies. The insurance company wants to give you a discount to stay.
Right.
And it's like, okay, why didn't you offer me the discount when I wanted to stay? Right. Now that I want to leave, now you want to offer me a discount. Right. Or, similarly, like you're saying with, with cable, or with the cell phone. That used to be the game you play, You want to switch services. Well, they got an introductory service, or you find out you with Comcast. Comcast is offering an introductory service, $39.99 a month. You get 4 free channels or whatever, and you're like, well, wait a minute. I'm paying 3 times that, and I've been with y'all for 6 years.
Right.
Why does the new boy or the new girl get get the deal, and I don't get the deal? Right. Because it's just the lulling, like Dee was saying, the lulling of, okay, as long as you're used to paying it, you keep paying it. You're used to paying it, you keep paying it. Right. Don't say nothing to them. As long as they keep paying it, let's just let them keep paying it. Right. Let them keep paying it. Like, that's the mantra.
Lull you to sleep. Exactly. Just, Yep.
That concludes this episode of Sidebar Forever, hosted by Dwight Clark, Swain Hunt, and Adrian Johnson. You can find us online at sidebarforever.com. Any emails or questions can be directed to us at sidebarforever@gmail.com. And also, subscribe to us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Sidebar Forever is copyright 2019. Dwight Clark, Swain Hunt, and Adrian Johnson.